What is up, everyone? This is the Divine Card Player, and today I will be showcasing the Deskbot deck. This deck is actually quite efficient, and it's pretty good in the sense that you get to power up your monsters constantly, and you get to get an easy to OTK most of the time. Excuse me. But yeah, this deck is quite efficient, and it's easy to use, easy to get used to. The effects aren't too crazy, but it will help you to get a lot of OTKs. I've gotten quite a few in the duels I've had. And yeah, let's get right into this. And if you guys do enjoy this video, hit that like button and sure show some support to this channel, and also subscribe if you guys want to see more deck profiles. I'm building some new decks if you guys would like to see more of that. And yeah, let's get right into this. Okay, so the way I'm going to be showing out these monsters is by level, because these monsters do go by level. Like their names pretty much state their level. So we're going to start off by showcasing 3 Deskbot 1s. That's how much you're going to want to run in this deck. At least that's how much I can run. You guys could kind of tweak it a little so you can run less or however much you want. But yeah, I run 3 Deskbot 1s, and its ability is that it gains 500 attack points for every machine type monster on the field. So that'll be quite good, and you also get to special summon it if you special summon 2 Deskbot monsters, I believe. Except during the damage step. But no, just 2 special summon monsters. So you guys don't have to worry about that. Just you can special summon him from your graveyard. That his effect is quite well, and he's one of the ones that gets me OTKs a lot most of the time because his effect is quite powerful. And now for the next monster we have is 3 copies of Deskbot 2. Now this monster right here is probably one of the best search monsters in this deck. I think it's the only search monster. Yeah, I think it's pretty much the only one. But what this card does is that when it's special summoned, you can add 1 Deskbot card from your deck to your hand, any type. So that's pretty overpowered in its sense, because there is pendulum monsters in this deck. I will say that. And yeah, and also it allows all Deskbot monsters to gain 500 attack. Look at that, and his art is quite great right there. But yeah, he pretty much boosts up Deskbot 1 and any other monsters that pretty much you want to win with. So yeah, he's quite overpowered. And the next card is 3 copies of Deskbot 3, which if you guys have not noticed, Deskbot 1, level 1, Deskbot 2, level 2, Deskbot 3, level 3. So it's going to keep going like that. Now, Deskbot 3's ability is that if he's normal summon, you get to special summon 1 Deskbot monster. So say you normal summon him, you could then special summon Deskbot 2, and you can add 1 Deskbot monster from your hand, which you can add Deskbot 1 or other Deskbot monsters. Whichever one works for you guys, as long as you can combo it or do whatever you want with it. But yeah, and he can also increase the attack points of all your Deskbot monsters by 500 for every Deskbot card you control. So in total you can control, so let's say you have 5 monsters, and then 2 in the pendulum zones, and then 1 spell. That's 8. So your monster will gain 4,000 attack points, which is pretty overpowered in that sense. And for the next monster we have here is 3 copies of Deskbot 4. He too is overpowered, and he's quite a lifesaver because he allows you to choose a monster from your deck, I believe. Let me see that again. Sorry, I just don't want to mess up. Yeah, you can search any monster from your deck, any Deskbot monster, and he gains attack points equal to its level times 500. So say you get like level 3, he gains 1,500 attack points, and that's pretty overpowered. The only downfall of it is that your opponent takes no damage for the rest of the battle phase. So if you use it and you're gonna attack with Deskbot 3, your opponent won't take damage. That's kind of the downfall. But the good thing is that if you only have him on your field, then you have, say, a level 8 Deskbot monster in your hand, and you send one to the graveyard, you could special summon both of them in face of defense position. So that's good. And now for the next monster I'd like to show you guys, let me scoot these up real quick, that way I can fit the rest. Now for the next monster I'd like to show you guys is 3 copies of Deskbot 5. Now Deskbot 5's ability is quite great. It's better to keep him in the pendulum zone in my opinion. So his ability in the pendulum zone isn't quite, every Deskbot pendulum monster has the same effect as pendulum effects. It says you cannot pendulum summon monsters except Deskbot monsters. This effect cannot be negated. Yeah, so his effect can't be negated, but he can only be used for Pendulum Summon of Deskbot monsters. But his other ability, if he's normal or special summon, you can destroy one spell or trap card on your opponent's field. So that's pretty good if your opponent is running a field spell or a continuous trapper spell. You can easily get rid of it like that. And yeah, and for the next monster is 3 copies of Deskbot 6. Um, his ability works well with Deskbot 5 if they're in your Pendulum Zone. Um, so his ability is that if he's normal or special summon, you get to switch the position of a monster on your opponent's field. So if you special summon them, you could change your opponent's monster to defense or attack position if you want to deal damage. And also, if he's destroyed in the Pendulum Zone, you get to add 1 Deskbot card from your graveyard to your hand, as well as the Deskbot 5. I forgot to mention that you get to special summon 1 Deskbot card from your graveyard. So that's good if he's destroying your Pendulum Zone. And for our next monster, we're gonna have 3 copies of Deskbot 7. Now his effect. Oh, sorry, you can't see that. The light is quite bright. Sorry about that. But his effect is pretty good, but I say it's useful sometimes. But he gains 500 attack points for each Deskbot monster in your graveyard. So pretty much if you have like 5, he'll gain 2,500 right off the bat. And both Deskbot 6 and Deskbot 5 gain 500 attack for every monster face up in your extra deck. Because if you guys, for those of you who don't know, every time Pendulum monster would be destroyed, instead it's sent face up to the extra deck zone. So they gain 500 attack points for that. And what Deskbot 7 does is that if you have him on the field, your opponent cannot target any other face-up Deskbot monsters except him for attacks. And also he inflicts piercing battle damage to defense position monsters. So that's pretty good if you have him and a couple monsters in the graveyard. He's pretty good in that sense. For the next monster we're going to have is Deskbot 8, and we're going to run 3 copies of him as well. We're pretty much running 3 copies for every monster because it just works so well together. And his ability, he too gains 500 attack for every Deskbot card in your graveyard. And he can also make up to 2 attacks on monsters of your opponent. So that's good if there's a couple monsters and you have him on your field, 2 attacks, boom, right there. Easy. Now, for the next card, this card is really great, and of course it's a level 9 monster. It's Deskbot 9. We're running 3 copies of him too as well. You could run 2 copies. I would suggest 2 just to make your draw engine a lot better. But I run 3. Now, Deskbot 9, when he can be special summoned with Pendulum monsters easily. But his ability is that he gains the attack points of all your Deskbot monsters. So if like all your Deskbot monsters have 3,000, 2,000, 1,500 attack points, he gains those attack points. But the only downside is that only he can attack. Except that it's not a downside sometimes, because if your opponent has a face-up monster, he can attack it, and your opponent cannot activate effects. So if you guys can pause the video right here, and you guys can read that effect. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get the best way so you guys can read it. And yeah, his effect is quite great in this deck, and it's pretty much gotten me the most OTKs in this deck. Other than that, it's been Deskbot 3 and Deskbot 1 that got me the most OTKs. These 3 monsters are good for OTKs. And yeah, that's it for the monsters, guys. So the monsters all correspond with each other. Their abilities help each other out, and you'll pretty much never have to worry if your monsters are sent to the graveyard, because you can always special summon more. Such as his ability will be able to special summon your monsters from the graveyard, so you don't have to worry about your monsters. Yeah, so that's it for the monsters, guys, and let's move on to the spells. Okay, guys, now for the spells, there's not that much spells, but they will really work good for this deck. Like, they're not really needed most of the time, but sometimes if you like need something to help you to draw something, or probably stall to draw the right cards, they'll work quite well. Now, to start off, we're going to start off with 2 copies of Deskbot Base. You guys could run 3 copies, but I run 2. Now, what Deskbot Base does is that if you don't draw like the cards you want, you can always shuffle them back into the deck. Like if you don't draw the right Deskbot cards, you can only shuffle Deskbot cards. So you could shuffle the Deskbot cards back into the deck, and you could draw that same amount. So if you don't draw something you like, you can draw whatever you want. And also you could banish 9 Deskbot cards from your graveyard or field, and shuffles out cards from your opponent's hand, graveyard, and field. So that's pretty good into their deck, by the way. Sorry, into their deck. So yeah, that's pretty good, and it's a pretty good draw engine if you guys don't draw the right cards. And for the second card, we're going to be running 2 copies of Machine Duplication. So this card is actually really good to get more Deskbot 2s on the field. So if you summon Deskbot 2 onto the field, and he only has 500 attack points, so you could special summon up to 2 more. If you guys can see that, it says target 1 machine type monster you control with 500 attack or less. Special summon up to 2 monsters of the deck with the same name. So if you summon, you can normal summon 1 Deskbot 2, and if you special summon those other 2, you get to basically add 2 more cards to your hand. So you could add say Deskbot 3. And yeah, so that's pretty good to get another Deskbot 2 onto the field, or 2 more. You can summon up to 2, or you can only summon 1. So it's up to you guys. And for the next card, we're gonna have 1 copy of Twin Sisters. I recommend 2, but I only run 1 just to not have that much cards in my deck. That way I could keep the consistency up. But yeah, Twin Twisters, if you guys don't know, you can discard 1 card and you could destroy up to 2 spell or trap cards on your opponent's side of the field. So that's pretty good for, again, continuous traps, field spells, and continuous spells. But it doesn't negate the trap or spell. So that's a bummer. But if it's infinite, or if it's an infinite spell or trap, then yeah, I don't negate it. And for the next card, we're going to have 1 copy of Limiter Removal. This card's at 1. It's limited, so you can only have 1 in your deck. Now what it does is it doubles the attack points of all machine type monsters, but they get destroyed at the end of the turn. So that's the only downside of it, but it does double it. And like I said, Deskbot 3 helps everyone gain more attack points. So if you double them, you can get an easy OTK for this card. Like, you don't have to worry about your monsters being destroyed because you'll easily win. And for the next card, we're going to have 1 copy of 1 for 1. Sorry, you guys can't see that. 1 for 1. Now what this card does is you could discard 1 monster and special summon 1 level 1 monster from your deck. So in other words, you could special summon the Deskbot 1. And you guys already know what Deskbot 1 is. This one right here, sorry. This card right here. You could summon 1, special summon him. And if you already have a bunch of Deskbot cards in your field and you special summon him, you're good because he gains attack points. Sorry about that cut, guys. The video stopped recording. But yeah, so for the next spell card, we're gonna have 1 copy of Soul Charge. This one is at 1 as well. So 1 for 1, Limit Removal and Soul Charge are at 1. You can only have 1 of them in your deck. So what it does is it special summons any number of monsters from your graveyard, but you take 1,000 damage from it. So you could only special summon 5 max, and you take 5,000 damage if you have 8,000 attack points only, or 6,000. But it's kind of risky. But you can't attack the turn you use it, so that's the downside of it. But if you special summon monsters that you need, you're good. And that does it for the spell cards, guys. So, like I said, not that much, but very effective. Now let's move on to the trap cards. So, again, for this as well, there's not that much trap cards, but they are very effective to stall most of the time. Excuse me. So, we're going to have 1 copy of Solemn Warning. I prefer Solemn Strike, though. This card is not good in this deck. I've realized that. I'm gonna change to Solemn Strike, but I prefer Solemn Strike. I'll show all the cards I recommend on the screen right here. But yeah, Solemn Warning just pretty much prevents special summons and card effects, I believe. No, just pretty much just summons, and you have to pay 2,000 life points. So yeah, that's Solemn Warning. You can only have 1 in your deck though. And Solemn Strike, I'm pretty sure you could have 3. So, and it's kind of better, but you know, Solemn Warning is good. The next card I'm going to want to have is 1 copy of Shrine to Tribute. You guys can have 2 or 3, but I prefer 1 because it limits it. It makes your drawing power better. So yeah, and this pretty much just destroy the monsters of a monster summon, and again, you can special summon monsters. And for the next track card, you're going to want 2 copies of Call of the Haunted. Just special summons monsters from your graveyard in attack position, and that's pretty much it. For Call of the Haunted, it's an easy effect, and it's quite powerful in the sense that, say, Deskbot 2, you get to special summon him. And for the last track card, we're gonna have 2 copies of Fiendish Chain. Fiendish Chain negates any monster's abilities, and it prevents them from attacking. So if your opponent runs effect monsters, this is quite good because it doesn't let them attack and it negates their abilities. And that does it for the trap cards, guys. And actually, yeah, that does it for the trap cards. I thought I had more. Sorry about that. But yeah, that does it for the trap cards, guys. And now let's move on to the extra deck. Now, for the extra deck, there's only one card I play. Deskbot Jet. It's not really necessary. Again, there's the normal excuse me. The other effects are way better than this effect. I mean, you guys can read the effect, but it's pretty much just you get to target one Deskbot card you have. You can target one Deskbot card you control, destroy it, and if you do special summon one Deskbot monster from your deck. So it's kind of good. The second effect is you can target one Deskbot card you control and one face-up card your opponent controls, and you destroy both. It's kind of good, but then again, not that well. Its level is 10, so you're gonna need Deskbot 1. Oh, by the way, Deskbot 1 is a tuner monster. I forgot to mention that, guys. I'm so sorry about that. Let me try pulling them up. Deskbot 1 is a tuner monster, if you guys can see that. Tuner. So yeah, but then again, it's not really worth it. But what I would recommend for you guys to run, if you guys want to run more extra deck monsters, is Castle the Sky Blaster Musketeer and Metaphys Horus. I'll have them up on the screen right here if you guys want to know what they are. And Castle the Sky Blaster Musketeer, I'm pretty sure his ability just shuffles an opponent's card on the field to the deck or flips it face down. I'm pretty sure that's its ability. So you guys can, I'll have the card up here so you guys can know. And Metaphys Horus has a better ability, in my opinion. He's a synchro monster. And I'll have him up on the field because I can't really get his abilities from the top of my head. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. And if you guys did, hit that like button and also subscribe. And tell me what you think of my first video. If you guys want me to improve something, just tell me. And I'll try improving it on the next deck profile I do. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.